Hello there, I'm Kios Ronin Beatmaker, and welcome to Lounge Ronin. All things, everything. And before we get into it, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe, hit that like button, and ring that notification bell. And on this episode, we're going to discuss The Relic of Burr Hooker, Part 2. Let's get into it. This article was updated December 3rd, 2023, written by Anne Mike. The Relic of Burr Hooker, Proof of a Race of Giants? Oh, made a little boo-boo here. Give me 1 second. Okay, now we're good. Apologies. Like I said, this article was updated. Well, this is part 2. So let me clarify. This is part 2, updated December 13th, 2023 by Anne Mike. The Relic of Burr Hooker and the Giants of the Past. Part 2. Ancient Origins, a recap. Part 1 of The Relic of Burr Hooker outlined the true account of Swiss club owner Gregor Spory and his encounter with an elderly farmer of Egypt, Naguib, a descendant of an ancient family of grave robbers. Naguib showed Spory a relic that had passed down through his family, a wooden box containing a mummified finger that measured 35 centimeters, 13.77 inches in length, along with documents proving its authenticity, including X-rays carried out on the artifact in the 1960s. The unsealable relic of Burr Hooker and giant mythologies. Naguib refused to tell Spory where the finger was found, but made allusions to a hidden room in the basement of the Great Pyramid, where huge empty graves were located. Naguib made it clear that the relic was not for sale and it was too important to Naguib's family. Before he returned to his hotel, Spory took a number of photos where he put a banknote next to the finger in order to indicate the size. Here we have an image of the photo of the mummified finger with measurements. That's a big finger. That's what she said. Let's continue. On the way back to Cairo, Spory realized that what he had seen was very special. In the years following his viewing of the giant mummified finger, Spory did not speak much about what he had seen. The times when he did speak about it showed him that scientists were not interested in it, simply because it did not fit with their existing theories. So instead, Spory embarked on an intensive research into the possibility of existence of giants in ancient times. He studied sacred texts like the Bible, the Gospel of Judas, the Torah, Talmud, the Quran, and many other writings containing tales and mythologies. He was surprised to discover that there are, in fact, frequent references to giants. The Bible speaks about Nephilim, the Hebrew word for a giant but also for fallen, a race of giants created by mixing the sons of God and the daughters of men. Researchers and historians have presented different theories to explain what these Nephilim really are, ranging from fallen angels, unfaithful to their origins, the descendants of Seth, and the third son of Adam and Eve, or a product of extraterrestrial inbreeding with humans. Genesis 6:4. Even after the flood, you can find reports of giants. This could be because the Nephilim were spiritual beings and therefore were not bothered by the flood, unlike their earthly offspring. The Israelites came across these giants when they explored their promised land. Quote, in those days, and also afterwards, there lived giants on the earth. Because the sons of God had intercourse with the daughters of men, and they bore sons to their community. They were the famous tyrants of old time. Here we have an illustration, The Fall of the Rebel Angels by Hieronymus Bosch, based on Genesis 6, 1 through 4. What's interesting about a lot of this um, is I have covered, slightly extensively many different articles discussing giants on this channel. And one thing I find very interesting personally is I do agree with the spiritual aspect, but I also believe that there is a bit of a scientific aspect in the sense of, you know, advanced civilizations that occupied Earth prior to ours. What type of technology that they have that was capable of building some of the most greatest megalithic structures in this entire world. Just because they may have lived in stone buildings and walls and castles of incredible design and structure does not mean that they weren't capable of advanced technology. It was just a different form. So whether they are from space or whether they were from the Anunnaki, take your pick. In my mind, all of it is true. It's just a matter of perspective. But to deny the fact and the existence of giants is to deny the essential reality. And that is, there is more than meets the eye. Let's continue. Numbers 13:33. Quote, we also saw the giants here, Anakim, which come of the giants, and we were like grasshoppers in our eyes, in our own eyes, and in their eyes. End quote. In the writings of Enoch and Moses, we can also read about giants. And 79 AD, Valvius Joseph mentioned giants in his writings about the Jewish war. There were giants, much larger and shaped differently than normal people. Terrible to see. Anyone who has not seen it with his or her own eyes cannot believe they are so big. Through the ages, writings in which giants play a role have resurfaced time and time again. Here we have the Anakim have been identified with Nephilim, the giants of antediluvian age. And if you're curious about that, check out my two-part series on if the giants built the pyramids. Uh, I'm telling you guys right now, giants are real. I'll bet money on it. They try so hard to confuse the history in our past, so much so that we don't know what is real and what is fake, what is folklore, what is legend, what is myth, or what is reality. Let's continue. Ancient artifacts and anomalies. Delving into historical records and mythologies, the pervasive theme of giants emerges. Scattered fragments of evidence and ancient accounts beckon us to consider the existence of giants, colossal beings colossal beings having left an indelible mark across diverse cultures. Pausians. An ancient historian wrote in 200 AD about 5-meter, 16.40 feet tall humanoid skeletons found in modern Syria. The Greek mythology known as the Titans. Germanic mythology has numerous giants living in Risenheim. Don Antonio de Mendoza discovered giant skeletons in Peru. The Dutch navigator Willem Cornels Schuchen claims he had seen skeletons of at least 3.5 meters, 11.48 feet. Giants are depicted on rock drawings in Ohio. There was a huge skeleton found in Minnesota in 1968. Radiocarbon dating could not continue because the skeleton vanished during its transportation. You can thank the Smithsonian for that. The Anunnaki are a race referred to the Sumerian text that apparently landed on Earth in the area between the Euphrates and the Tigris. They passed their knowledge to the Sumerians, an early civilization with very advanced culture. The Sumerians depicted humanoids of at least 3 times as large as the average person in their art and carvings. Statues in Egypt depict gods as tall beings. Historians would tell you that this is to indicate that they were important, but it also is possible that they were representing their actual height. Often there is a man of normal height to create a context. A giant footprint embedded in granite that is around 200 million years old has been found in South Africa near the town of Mapuzi. I've seen that image. The references are actually too many to enumerate, as there are many more. You can, like I said in part one, there is literally Instagram pages dedicated to articles and covered in North American United States magazines, newspapers, yeah, about giant skeletons and remains and underground cities found throughout North America. But we're not going to talk about that. Unanswered questions. Spory's encounter sparks contemplation on human origins. After several years of intense research, Spory sold his successful chain of companies in 2008 to concentrate on solving the problem of giants. Wow. Here we have a radiograph image of the left hand showing microdysphoria, a medical condition of giganticism. Scientists have studied the pictures, but were not able to draw any conclusion on the basis of the images alone. They did, however, confirm that the mummified finger appeared authentic, but rejected the possibility of a past race of giants. They have investigated the possibility of whether the finger may be related to macrodictyly or Proteus syndrome of gigantism. This condition involves an excessive growth of the fingers, of the toes or fingers of the patient. This theory was subsequently discounted as the relic has normal proportions of thickness and the size of the nail in relation to the length of the finger. In macrophilia, this ratio is absent and the bone will no longer be normal. Spory traveled to Egypt again in 2009 to actively search for the relic. In 19 years, however, much had changed. Roads had been constructed, the nation has experienced significant civil unrest, and Naguib, the elderly man in 1988, was most likely now deceased. To date, the search has yielded no results and seems like the relic, as well as its custodians, have vanished. Nevertheless, Spory encounter with the ancient mummified finger raises important questions about our past and our origins. Perhaps as new evidence emerges, there will one day be proof for an ancient race of giants that walked the earth. Spory continues his investigations and has written a book in which the relic plays an important role. While his experience was a real one, the book has been written as a mystery thriller, freely moving between reality and fiction. The Lost God. For more information and updates, head over to lostgod.com. And there you have it. The Relic of Burr Hooker, Part 2. Like I said in the first one, ladies and gents, we really don't know the true history. The secret history, as I like to put it. The origins of humanity are as much of a mystery as as uh as reality itself. I don't know. I mean, it's so fascinating. Sometimes it's hard to kind of wrap your head around it, especially if you're, someone who's, beginning to kind of humor these ideas and concepts. You begin to kind of question your own sense of worth and meaning. And I don't want that for people when it comes to these kind of stories and situations, because I know that there are going to be a lot of people out there who will dismiss many of this. And I say, all right, fine. Well, why don't you do your own research? Why don't you look into some of these things that I have discussed and provided for you? No one's stopping you from doing it. No one's preventing you, but your own domestication, your own belief system that has been curated, designed for you by outside sources and by family and culture and race and all that fun jazz. But if you allow the outside world to domesticate your perception of reality, then you're nothing more than another cog in the hive mind. And that is the uh, the scrutiny that I have with the current regime of academia and mainstream media, which is in and of itself is dying. The elite colleges are on fire right now as military police beat down kids promoting, protesting against genocide. while at the same time you have mysteries being unraveled, UFO Senate hearing committees. The recent UFO incident in California has just recently got updated with the eyewitnesses claiming that it was most likely some form of demonic entity. So the line begins to blur when it comes to UFOs and demons. Talk to Tucker Carlson about that. So if those in the State Department and in black budget projects and Raytheon and all those fun jazz working with UFO technology and all that believe that there's no distinguishing difference between aliens and demons, and what is there to distinguish between humans and giants other than what? Who gets to tell us the truth? Constantly we're all getting mocked and ridiculed for being individuals of open-mindedness, critical thinking. So, I can be ridiculed for my beliefs in the existence of giants, but I cannot ridicule you for your uh, advocation for non-informed consent of medical procedures or genocide or gender ideology or corporate fascism. Which way, humanity? Which way? Because the truth is in the past. The truth is in the hidden history. But are you willing to allow yourself to be reborn with a mind of openness, with a mind of individuality that allows for the possibility to grow and evolve in your belief system of the reality of the world and your own humanity? Truly, when it comes to relics of history of this type of splendor, are you going to allow yourself to continue to believe a lie? Don't get me wrong. I know people who love and live and bask in their delusion. They prefer it. But I can tell you one thing, they're never truly happy in it. So ask yourself, will you live in the essential reality, or will you live in the false reality? I hope you enjoyed this episode of Lounge Ronin. All things, everything. If you've made it this far and you like what you've heard, please make sure to, to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And until next time, stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love.